Tyler Perry has a love-hate relationship with AI. Werner Herzog has stared hell in the face, and the modern world has ruined genre movies.
Oh, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call! Bueller.
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller.
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm late for class.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kim left to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Hello, classmates, and welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Joseph.
I'm Peter.
And I'm Tyler.
We have a great show for you in store today. Welcome to the Twitch stream. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome. The OG classmates in podcast audio only land.
Yeah.
And welcome you too, and Lola, if you heard that.
We got all kinds of fuzzy friends today.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do. Why are we remote today, though?
I don't know, there's a bug going around.
There's a sickness going around.
Yeah, I have seasonal allergies. They came early. Everything is blooming in my neck of the woods. But that's not it. It's that there's sick children that Deanna touches all the time. Well, that sounded bad.
Wait a minute.
It is a problem.
Yeah.
Is your ex-girlfriend infirm?
Not so much anymore, but yeah,
Better safe than sorry.
It's more of a precautionary thing.
The world is remote now, Tyler. We have to get on the bandwagon. I got to say, Joseph, you nailed that intro. Timing, perfect. We practice. The Twitch viewers won't know. We practice this.
Yeah, in the 2-minute warning, I was rehearsing in my head. I do want to mention, I know we try to stray away from weather talk.
What? No.
We
are a part meteorological.
It's important
sort of podcast.
As Californians, I think it's important that we have to talk about whenever we have a nice day. Today is one of those days, and what are we doing? We're sitting in a room talking about God knows what, movie related.
Yeah,
instead of outside. I'm looking outside of a window right now. I walked around earlier, and the farmer's market was packed.
Oh, yeah?
You went to the farmer's market?
Yeah, briefly.
Nice.
It was crowded, as you can expect, from everybody hibernating.
You guys have Saturday farmers markets? They only do it on Sundays out here.
Yeah, Saturdays is a hot commodity in the Sacramento region for farmers market.
Especially when it's like nearing 70 degrees outside, so...
We should go interview people at the farmer's market with the new audio mic setup that I built.
Oh, yeah. Your COVID-friendly mic stick.
Yeah.
Wait, your lavaliers?
No, it's not a lav. I built like a 2.5 foot long mic extender, so you don't have to stand next to someone to interview them. You could be away from striking distance.
That's actually a great idea. We really should go out to the public. Like, I should go out to public bathrooms.
You
guys should go to a farmer's market.
You stand next to someone at a urinal with a microphone and ask them if they've seen The Lighthouse.
That's right. Yeah, what's your take on Robert Eggers?
I don't.
Nice Johnson there.
I don't follow politics. Sorry.
Do you think Ridley Scott should retire, or should he die on set?
I think he should be in Gladiator 3, and he should be one of the slaves that fights in the ring.
Yes.
And he dies on set, like in Ben-Hur or something.
That's hella funny.
Oh my god, I love it.
But we have, like I said, we have a good, at least good show for you today.
Moderately okay show, yeah.
Moderately entertaining show that you may or may not enjoy. But let's get into the Gab and Chatter.
Find some charity, ye lad. Now's the time for Gab and Chatter.
Gab and Chatter, movie news, movie things to discuss, movie-related topics. Pete, what do you have to talk about?
My story today comes from Variety, and this is about the prevalence of AI in the modern movie landscape. The new AI open source sort of thing, which is all the rage, is called Sora. That's the text-to-video component to this AI overlord that will be taking over all of our jobs in the near future.
Probably one of the worst things to come out in this year so far.
Yes. And
what, AI?
AI text to video, but just AI art in general.
Why is that bad?
Why is that bad for somebody who creates videos for a living?
Tyler's going to be the first in line. He'd be like, look, Ma, I'm an artist. I typed some shit onto a screen and look what came out. I'm an artist now. I mean, that's what people, I follow a couple, I don't follow these people on Twitter, but once people start getting whipped up into a frenzy over, somebody saying, I'm an AI artist. Look what I created in 5 minutes with this open source AI Sora. And it's just this ridiculous like screensaver looking thing that's like a trailer for a nature documentary that literally looks like nothing. It's ridiculous that people are calling themselves artists when they're typing a bunch of shit onto a screen and it pops out.
Yeah. And it's even more crazy that they'll defend their stance on being an AI artist. That's insane to me. Like, just because I never learned how to paint or make music or shoot videos or edit videos or whatever. Just because I can type shit out doesn't mean I'm any less of an artist than you are.
Exactly. I had to learn what text to put into the AI to get the desired result out. Do you know how many minutes of practice that took? Minutes, literal minutes. It's crazy. So
I had to get a thesaurus.
The story centers around Tyler Perry specifically. And say what you will about Tyler Perry, he is a part of the landscape of modern filmmaking. It's not my specific audience. I've seen a couple of the Medea movies and a couple of like the offshoots and stuff. And they're just kind of like almost like Lifetime movies, but a little bit better than that. But
he's a hard worker in the film
aren't
industry.
Aren't they mostly comedies? Like
they're
the
comedies
series.
They're comedies with a very there's always a message behind them. It's usually they're usually mildly faith-based, but with a hard edge to them. So it's like
faith-based.
Yeah, so it's basic. It's a lot of it centers around putting your faith in your family or your church or whatever. And there is a good message behind a lot of it, but it shines.
So it's not like Big Mama's House.
No, no.
That's what I imagine. I haven't seen any.
I mean, it's not like Big Mama's House, but
it's not like.
So, like, for example, I can't remember the first one. It was an early one. The inciting incident is, the woman is abused by her husband and thrown out on the doorstep and thrown out of the mansion. And then she has to, like, start her life over. And it's kind of like warning people against, putting their entire identity into their significant other, I guess. Or, like, choose a partner based off of faith where you can align your, morals or something like that. And then at the same time, it's Medea coming out saying, "I'm a bust a cap in your ass." I'm a convicted felon. I always got that thing on me. So Tyler Perry was planning to build an $800 million studio expansion in Atlanta where he shoots his projects. He says he's been planning that for a number of years. He says, "I've been watching AI very closely, and I've been watching the advancements very closely. I was in the middle of and have been planning for the last 4 years about an $800 million expansion at the studio, which would have increased the backlot to a tremendous size. We were adding 12 more sound stages, and all of that is currently and indefinitely on hold because of Sora and what I'm seeing with the text AI." So he basically is saying, if I can take text to speech and create essentially like a backdrop, like what do they call that, Joseph? The big LED studio or...
Oh, the volume?
The volume, that's it. I always want to call it the sound.
That's close.
But yeah, they're adjacent. But if you can take this AI and generate not necessarily a whole movie, but the backdrop of a movie, maybe that's what he's saying. Why would I expand my entire studio to build these physical things when I can have an AI build it essentially for me?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does, but it's putting people
on a for profit level. It makes sense.
Yeah,
from a business standpoint, it makes sense.
Correct.
But I mean, like you have to understand though, we live in a capitalist society, so everyone who wants to make money, they're going to do the things that make them the most money.
Correct. Like,
but at the same time,
and I'm not saying I agree with it. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying like that's like the natural evolution.
Yeah, but we're talking about Tyler Perry, who sounds like he's a borderline billionaire. We're not talking about the people he would employ to design those backdrops, who now don't have a job and now have to go into something else or find another job hopefully within their same field.
Correct. AI was supposed to take the job, like robotics and stuff was supposed to take the jobs that we don't want to do, like flipping burgers or, harvesting crops. Yeah, car manufacturing, which a big part of it is done by robotics at this point, car manufacturing that is. But instead it's taking artists away. It's like people are like, I want a comic book style image of a woman holding an apple with a wolf behind her. And it's like, boom, you get 10 versions of it and you pick the one you want and then extrapolate off of that. And now you're an artist, right? It's getting further and further into that. And we're only, I saw a clip that was like that. Do you see that clip of Will Smith eating spaghetti put through text to video AI 2 years ago?
No, I've never even heard of that.
Horrifying. It was absolutely horrifying. It was like the stuff that nightmares are made of. And I remember on the cinematics page when that stuff kind of was starting to get blown up 2-3 years ago, Bruce had a game he was playing where he would take
that AI.
Yeah,
it was like horribly like it would just give you the most terrifying image.
It was like nightmarish image of whatever it was, and he would post three or four versions of that picture, and you could guess what the movie is based off of the prompt. Well, in 2 years, we've gone from that horrifying nightmare fuel of AI to pretty believable video footage. So in an interview with a Hollywood Reporter, Perry expressed a need for the industry to get ahead of AI's potential impact, saying, there's got to be some sort of regulations in order to protect us. If not, I just don't see how we survive. So I'm really unclear where he stands with it. So he acknowledged the potential of AI to assist in filmmaking, allowing him to create sets with text instead of by traveling, but he fears for the jobs that could be lost to automation, quoting, "It makes me worry so much about the people in the business, because as I was looking into it, I immediately started thinking of everyone in the industry who would be affected by this, including actors, grips, electric, transportation, sound, and editors, and looking at this he says, I'm thinking that this will touch every corner of our industry. But at the same time, he's halting his expansion. And I don't blame him for that either, because an $800 million investment, if you see something that's potentially game-changing for the industry, don't make that investment immediately. Maybe, wait for the dust to clear a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if he was already willing to spend that money, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute, I just found this other thing that might make it more efficient. When I can spend, I don't know, $400 million on it instead of...
Yeah, but that's the point that I was making. The evolution of capitalism, especially in the entertainment industry, with this new discovery of AI, of course they're going to take advantage.
Sure.
I know. Well, yeah, they are. And it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it sucks. It sucks, but
it's interesting because Perry's saying there needs to be some sort of regulation so we don't destroy ourselves in this, basically. At the same time, he's like, well, I use it,
Oh, guys, this sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This really sucks.
Someone should make a law against the thing that I'm
backdrop.
doing.
Man, we really have to... Someone's really got to look out for you guys as he types a text to make a backdrop.
Yeah.
So
dang.
Bruce is in the chat. He says, it's time for the artist rebels to take out the AI Death Star. And
well, we need to take out the people who made the fucking AI.
So
it's always gonna happen. You see, it's like True Detective season 1. Time is a flat circle. It's gonna happen again and again and again.
There's hope for taking out the Death Star. There's actually a hacker activist group that is creating programming that you can apply a filter to your video. Right now,
I saw this.
Right now, it's just pictures. You put your digital art on the internet, and it applies a filter to it, so human eyes see it the same way. But when a computer algorithm reads it, it outputs something different. So if it's like you got a bunch of people holding the little girl holding the apple looks like a cow or something to the computer.
Yeah.
It looks the same. So then when the AI reads it, the filter basically steals all the information. Because that's the other thing about the AI, is that none of it is wholly original content.
It's just an amalgamation of a bunch of other arts.
Yeah.
Other people. Because there's enough of it just in the world that it can pull from. There was this other...
We've made too much stuff.
There's this country, I want to say it's Holland, that they've rolled out their own AI where it's not really AI. You do type a text into a prompt, and an artist in the Netherlands will accept that prompt and mail you a painting that they made of the text that you prompted. It is text to art. prompts.
Interesting.
But it's real people
It's
making
real-
the
it's
art
real.
and sending it to you.
It's
So
very
Tyler
slow
Perry,
AI.
Tyler Perry's in the middle of all of this. Like he's
No.
He's like
Tyler
he's the godfather of AI.
No.
Is that what you're saying?
I will read one more quote from Perry. He says that he hopes the value of human workers isn't lost in the shuffle. Quote, I just hope that as people are embracing this technology and as companies are moving to reduce costs and save the bottom line, that there will be some sort of thought and some sort of compassion for humanity and the people that have worked in this industry and built careers and lives, that there's some sort of thought for them, while
Yeah,
also
that's
doing
not
the
gonna
thing
happen.
that he says people should have compassion for.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Well,
That's not gonna happen.
it's hard to have any respect for Tyler Perry because he is a billionaire.
Yeah.
So in and of itself, being a billionaire is already an unethical thing. So
That's right.
Yeah.
any input that he has on this conversation, I feel like is
It's bad faith, I think.
yeah.
He's spinning it whatever
Yeah.
way he needs to come out on top and also save himself some shekels.
Yeah. Would you compare to like talking about Medea specifically, the series of Medea,
Okay.
because there's a shit ton of those movies, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's like 5, I think.
Is
Way
it?
more
It's kind of like an Ernest, right? Like an Ernest goes to jail.
yeah, something like that.
Sure.
And Tyler Perry plays Medea, and he also
Yeah.
almost always has a character in the movie that's not Medea as
Yeah.
himself too. It feels kind of like the Disney original movies, from the 1990s and early 2000s that were kind of being churned out. He has this like money making sort of machine where he has a formula and it works. And it caters to a specific audience. It's always like a Black culture centric movie.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of tied up in the faith based, semicircle, intersecting like Venn diagram of that.
Sure.
And they're fine. They're not terrible, but they're just kind of crappy comedies that have a good message. So you can laugh at it and also say, hey, this is not your grandma's faith-based movie. It's actually got a hard edge to it. No, they're talking about sex and stuff in this. And they're talking about... So
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Pete.
there's
like,
a spot in the market for it, and it's fine. And he's exploited that into like this media empire. And have you guys ever seen his house?
His house? No.
It's like the size of an entire neighborhood. It's
What?
unbelievable. It's like a I don't know.
Why would you need that?
10,000 square foot, 19 bedroom house in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I always find it weird when I see Tyler Perry pop up in random movies.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
in Star Trek or in
I think he was in Don't Look Up, right?
Yeah, he was in Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
And Gone Girl. Like
He was in
just,
Gone Girl?
he just kind of appears in random movies, in like these like dramatic movies. and while having the track record of Medea.
Yeah.
Which
What
looking
do
at
you-
his IMDb, there's like at 30 of these movies.
I was going to say,
don't know.
Tyler's grossly underestimating the amount of Medeas there are in the world.
Oh, wait, there's 30 of them? Holy
Just
holy crap.
I don't know. I didn't count, but there's a lot.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
like,
I'll believe that number. Yeah, what do you think about Tyler Perry going into like random movies? Do you think he just walks on set and
And now
doesn't
he's
even
in
have
the
to
movie?
audition? Just
no, that's no. No, he's a power player. I mean, the reality is he's huge.
yeah, he is. Yeah.
Anyways, that's all story I have for that.
All right, down with AI. That's all.
Yes, that's the real
Down
story.
with AI. Okay.
Tyler, what do you have to bring? Something as exciting as AI generated apocalypse?
So we all know Werner Herzog. He has a personality. But Werner Herzog watched 30 minutes of Barbie and asked, could it be that the world of Barbie is sheer hell? When I saw this story, I was thinking to myself, is it sheer hell? Because
Barbieland.
Yeah,
when you
Barbieland.
think about the world of Barbie, everyone looks the same. Everyone is named the same.
Okay.
Mhm.
All the houses look the same.
Yeah.
No one really has any agency, so I think he's onto something.
Well, Werner's he's a smart guy.
He is. I mean, like he's onto something with this world. Do you think the Barbie world is hell?
Like actual hell or
Yeah,
like
like actual hell.
If I woke up tomorrow in Barbieland, would I think I'm in hell? Probably. I would.
I would think I'd feel like I was in like adjacent to hell.
So
I guess. I don't know.
Have
you
you seen
think it would be dystopian?
That's what it looks like.
So we're in agreement then.
We're
We're all in agreement that it would be like abject misery.
But that's the point.
I didn't say that.
Of the movie.
Yeah.
Not so much like this is hell, but like this is not the ideal society.
I don't want anyone
Joseph says it first. Feminism, not the ideal society. Women in a leading role? No.
No. Herzog, he really kind of opened up the idea that the Barbies are in hell. Like
No,
like
the Barbies are
they're being
in a
punished
utopia
for whatever reason. I don't know.
They're in a utopia. The Kens are being punished, if anything.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, they're just like complacent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in
I
their
guess
roles.
I guess so. He goes on to saying, I have not seen Oppenheimer yet, which I will not as well, but I will do it.
Until we put it on the wheel.
You gonna take it? Are you taking a
son of a
stand,
bitch.
Tyler? Are you taking a stand or something against Oppenheimer?
He has no reason.
Every classmate within the sound of my voice, join me in my small but robust clan of not watching Oppenheimer.
But it's not just Oppenheimer. You refuse to watch a lot of movies.
Yeah, Spider-Verse, anything
Oh,
good,
that's true,
anything
too.
good,
Anything good?
any movie that Joseph and I recommend to you.
That's not true.
When was the last movie that you watched that Joseph or I recommended to you?
I don't know.
Yeah, when was the last time you listened to the show? Like you heard 5 streaming picks from me and Joseph both, and you said, I'm going to put those on my watch list and I'm going to watch them.
You're implying that I have a watch list.
That's a great point. I'm sorry.
So,
I gave you too much credit. I'm sorry. Continue.
so anyways, Werner Herzog really like titillated my mind with this idea of the Barbie world being in actual purgatory or hell. And I really love that idea. I didn't even think about that
Tyler,
before.
Werner famously is an insane person. Very smart. He was quoted at one time saying he'd never heard of The Simpsons.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Not that he hadn't watched the show, but he'd never even heard
The
of it.
Simpsons.
Yeah. He makes these outlandish comments, and that's why people ask him to watch these things or make a comment, because they know there's going to be some insane thing that comes out of his mouth, and we can all laugh at this weird person. He just lives life differently than us.
Yeah. The only Homer.
Oh my God, I'm the Werner Herzog of
Tyler,
podcasting.
No.
I was saying what I want to say, Tyler, is I want that. You used to do these takes like this where you would watch a movie and you'd be like, I think this is actually an allegory for, misogyny in the workplace or whatever. And we're like, Air Bud? What are you talking about? Now you just come in and you're like, Pete, Joseph, how'd you think about the movie? Okay, that's how I think.
Yeah.
That's not true at all. That's not true. I don't like that.
I want the
That's
Werner
not true at
Herzog
all.
take. I want the Werner Herzog take from Tyler.
Are you? Yeah, no, you're right. You know what? You're referencing from the time that you said that this movie was an A+, and then or an A, and then I said A+, and
We said it's
because I was
a
like, yeah, I agree
perfect
with
movie.
Pete, like-
Let's change the last 25 minutes. Let's workshop it a little bit. Perfect movie, just like Pete said. I hated the last 20 minutes. I wish it would have changed. I actually almost turned it off. Perfect movie. Hey, Bruce has a name. Bruce has a name for your group of Oppenheimer haters. It's the Stoppenheimers. How about
the
that?
Stoppenheimers. I love it. I love it.
Gangbusters.
Thank you, Bruce.
Gangbusters.
Thank you.
He didn't finish the movie, from what I understand.
No, he only watched 30 minutes of it.
I feel like that kind of tracks. And also, who reported this? Did he tweet this out? Was it
No,
a
I
friend?
think-
No, it was an interview with Variety.
Yeah.
I was watching the Barbie movie, and I thought to myself, this is hell.
Here's what I have the full quote actually. He says, "I have a suspicion. Could it be that the world of Barbie is sheer hell? For a movie ticket as an audience, you can witness sheer hell. As close as it gets. I don't know yet. I have to watch the whole thing first."
So
He's
that's
a
all
weird
that-
guy.
Yeah.
No, he's not a weird guy.
Yes, he is.
He's just
Yeah, he
Okay,
is.
well, maybe he's weird, but maybe we need more weird in the world.
We do.
The only
that's my
Homer that
only-
I know is Homer's Odyssey.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's I just wanted to bring that up. That's all I got.
So I don't have a news story, but I do have a topic of discussion spawned from a stand-up comedian who goes by the name of Kyle Kinane.
Oh, I like Kyle Kinane.
I've heard the name. I haven't seen any of his actual like stand-up specials or anything like that. I just saw this bit, and he tells this joke where the last 8 years of our country, America, have ruined the presidential kidnapping genre of action movies. And that sparked something in me where I was like, one, I don't remember ever really watching a movie where there was a presidential kidnapping and that was the plot.
Air Force One.
Yeah, that's lost on me. And also maybe like those Gerard Butler,
Yeah.
like the White House
Olympus Has
attack
Fallen,
movies.
White House Down. Come on.
So it makes sense though, because like, why would anybody care about like a presidential representative in a movie getting kidnapped? Like,
Especially
cool,
nowadays, like who gives a
good. He
shit?
got kidnapped. I'm glad.
Yeah,
Half the country would be like, fucking get him.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, kind of wanted to bring this topic up, but the world and how it evolved kind of ruined that subgenre of movies, that very specific subgenre of movies, at least for the people who aren't patriots.
Okay.
It kind of like made me want to ask you guys, what other things of our modern world do you think have ruined a certain genre of movie, or something like for example, like cell phones, the modern inclusion of cell phones have, if you were to include them into movies from like the 60s and 70s or anything pre-cell phone, the plots of those movies could have been easily
like it's
solved.
wrapped up
Yeah.
very quickly.
I think natural disaster movies has taken a dip. I don't think a lot of people like natural disaster movies.
But why?
Just because we have a lot of natural disasters.
Oh, okay.
Because of climate change and everything. I know Twisters is coming out. That's not in the same vein of
Well, there was almost a tornado in Sacramento. I would be traumatized if I were to watch Twister now.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe so.
I think if anything, they're worse now because you can relate it to a climate change sort of event. I just watched The Day After Tomorrow for the first time.
Oh, that's
Really?
the one I was thinking of.
Dennis
That's
Quaid
the
the
one.
whole time is like, "Oh, the oceans are warming. This is going to be the end of us." Well, like
You remember that
100
scene?
years
You remember
from now.
that? You remember that scene where everything freezes like instantly, like in
That's
the
like half
city
the
of New
movie.
York?
That's half the movie.
It just freezes instantly.
I know.
It's quite an imminent threat where it's like attacking you. It's not like a slow progression
Yeah.
like climate change actually is. It's happening now, right in front of you. Like you
Yeah.
can see it. It's gonna kill you within a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
I don't know what genres I think are ruined because of the modern day. I think that things have to have a natural progression as the society changes. Because look who's coming to dinner, or have you heard of that movie?
Yes.
It's basically like white family, the young daughter, or the daughter, she's 19, 20, 21, something like that, brings home a black man to have dinner with her family. And this was 1955 or whatever. It's like, holy shit, what's happening, you know? And
yeah.
and they've now, if you wanted to make that movie, it would have to be set in like the South, or at least in America. I know that there's racism all over the world, but
I don't know. You know, it's interesting. Sorry to cut you off.
no, go ahead.
What I think is we've lost romantic comedies.
That's not true.
There's no romantic
That's not
comedies
true.
out there.
We just reviewed one.
Absolutely is true.
Yeah,
Molly and Max in the future.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
They tried to revive the most recent one, the Anyone But You, early 2000s rom-com.
That did gangbusters at the box office. It was like the highest
It did.
grossing R-rated movie in like, I don't know, the last 10 years or something like that.
But
Oh,
I
well,
guess
I'm just living under a cave then. I don't.
because of things like, we're getting kind of deep here,
Living
but
under a cave. I like that one.
the things like racism or sexism have obviously influenced the media that we consume. And if certain tragic events didn't happen in the past, we wouldn't have the media that we have today, or the art that we have today in general. So it's like,
tragedy begets art.
yes, again, it comes back to without tragedy, there is no art.
That's why there's no art in Barbieland, because there's no tragedy there. They're just living in their utopia. So what do they have to paint their feelings for or whatever?
It's a horrible purgatory that they live in.
Tyler, another romantic comedy which was fantastic that came out a couple years ago called I Want You Back with Charlie Day and Jenny Slate. Streaming picked it on the show.
Oh yeah, I heard about that one. Yeah.
Streaming picked on the show. Recommended it to you. Told you that you specifically would like it.
Oh, you did.
How was it? Was it good? You like it?
I didn't watch it.
Oh, okay. Weird.
I
That's weird. It's a weird conundrum. I didn't expect that.
How's that weird?
That's a plot twist.
You know who I am as a person.
No, I can't think of any genres, to be honest, because I think it's more interesting the idea of casting a specific actor for the presidential role in those types of movies, because you want it to be reminiscent of someone you would see in a presidential role, but not too specific to make it think like, oh, this is George W. Bush, or oh, this is Bill Clinton, or this is Obama, or this is whoever. You just want it to be a vague vision of a quote unquote commander in chief, you know?
Okay, well, here's a question I want to pose both to you.
Okay.
Who's the best president to be on
Bill Pullman.
film?
Bill Pullman.
Really?
Yes. Independence Day. He gets in the damn fighter jet himself.
Oh yeah.
Like old W did.
The best movie president.
Yeah, best movie president.
I can't even think of.
I don't know why we're even talking.
Bill Pullman is the first one that I think of.
It's Bill Pullman.
I mean, like, you have your answer, but I have the correct answer.
Okay, what's that? What's that, Tyler?
Harrison Ford.
Air Force One? Boo.
Mm-hmm. Is he the president in that?
Movie's not as good as we remember it to be.
Oh, okay. The only president I can think of in this whole genre of movie, the presidential kidnapping, it's not even a movie. It's like it's a movie within a show. The Office, Threat Level Midnight.
Oh yeah,
and Craig Robinson plays the president.
Craig Robinson.
Threat Level Midnight. Yeah. I love that.
Okay. Well, I stand corrected.
It's Agent Michael Scarn.
But I guess also with like modern technologies advancing, we get movies that are topical to that, like Cellular, that movie with Chris Evans and Kim Basinger, is that her? Who, like, she gets kidnapped and like he picks up a phone call from her, like a random phone number.
Yeah.
Nowadays, because of how many fucking spam calls that we get, no one would answer that.
That's true.
That's true. So true.
And then You've Got Mail, when email became very popular.
Oh,
that was like the main way of chatting. Like we got the movie You've Got Mail.
Yeah. I still want to see the
interesting concept for a narrative.
I still want to see the Vine romance movie. Yeah.
The Vine.
Yeah.
Well, it's come and gone now.
It's called Love on the Vine. It's a period piece, actually. It's like 10 years ago.
Yeah. But yeah, just wanted to talk about that. I thought that was kind of interesting.
We've been getting really philosophical.
All right, then let's get to the stream pick.
Movies.
Wanna watch a movie?
Yes, I do.
Disney Plus. Oh, HBO Max.
If I don't get the pick, show's over.
I have grown accustomed to Hulu Plus.
Amazon Prime.
I like Netflix.
You found the pick.
Streaming picks. Movies that we watched on our streaming services that you can watch or don't watch on yours too. Pete, what do you have?
I got a couple of fun ones and I got a couple of bad ones.
Nice.
I'm gonna touch on one that I'm happy to say that is finally streaming. It's called The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Have you guys heard of this one?
That's a vampire
Dracula,
flick, right?
Yeah, it's based off of one chapter of the original Nosferatu or Dracula, whatever the name of the book was that Nosferatu is based off of. And it's streaming on Paramount Plus. It's also streaming on Fubo. And I had a lot of hopes for this one, and I didn't quite scratch all of the itches that I wanted from this movie, but I still think it was a very moody and kind of a great gothic representation of a voyage at sea. Basically, the plot is that Dracula is being loaded onto the boat. He's coming from Transylvania to America to chase after his unrequited love or whatever happens in the book. And the entire chapter is told through the captain's log of the captain of the Demeter. The thing that I don't like about this, which is kind of the common complaint from most of the reviews that I've seen from this, is that in the opening title card, it tells you that this is told from the captain's log of the Demeter, blah, 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 sailed from here to here. There were no survivors. And you're like, Okay.
Oh,
It's
well, I don't need to watch it anymore.
unreliable, like, narrators.
No,
essentially.
no, it's not that.
It's just telling you that everybody dies.
Yeah, you're like, okay, cool. So I'm just going to watch these people get picked off one by one, which is like, okay, I guess at that point you can settle in and you know what kind of movie you're going to get. Spoiler alert, not everybody dies, but
Also, they lied.
they lied to you. But
That's
yeah,
why I said unreliable narrator.
yeah, I mean, for the most,
Is there a narrator you could latch onto into the movie?
no, there's not. But it's got a pretty good cast. The guy that plays, what is his name? He's from Game of Thrones. Liam Cunningham, yeah, and he played Davos Seaworth. He's the captain of the ship. And we also have Corey Hawkins, who's the default main character. Aisling Francosi, we've never heard that name before, and then David Dastmalchian, who was almost unrecognizable Dastmalchian in this. He's got a big beard, he's got a great accent, which I was like, that's not Dastmalchian. He doesn't sound anything like him. But yeah, he's fantastic in this. The things that are good about this, very moody, very tone heavy. It's dark, it's gritty, and the creature design of Dracula in this is very almost like Jeepers Creepers-esque, where he's a creature. He's not really like he doesn't really almost look like a person at all. He looks like a humanoid bat almost. He's like in his bat form for most of the time. And he's got like this pale, translucent skin. They never really talk about why he looks like that or whatever, but I'm assuming he goes from the frail old Gary Oldman with the two giant buns on his hair, version in Transylvania, old, sickly, weak Dracula, and then he's powering up on this boat ride as he picks off people one by one. Yeah. So the things I don't like about it is that there was a fantastic opportunity to take some very suspenseful scenes and turn them into like all-time great suspenseful scenes, and they didn't really capitalize on that. There's a lot of use of fog because naturally they're on the water, so there's fog coming in, and the vampire is up on the crow's nest where the sails are and whatnot, and picking people off. And there's some very great tense scenes that are kind of cut too short. They didn't really quite lean into the suspense of it. But all in all, I do recommend it. It is a fun movie, especially if you're a vampire aficionado.
Especially if you're a vampire.
If you're a vampire, watch this. Yeah. Right into the show. Tell us how accurate it is. And it's directed by Andre Orvedal, who also did Troll Hunter, the
Norwegian one.
Yeah, the Norwegian one, and The Autopsy of Jane Doe. I really like The Autopsy of Jane Doe quite a bit.
I really enjoyed Troll Hunter.
Troll Hunter is great. So that's streaming on Paramount Plus and Fubo, if you have that. My next one that I watched is called Breakfast on Pluto. It's a little lesser known movie that I don't think that most people have heard about, and it's on Amazon Prime right now. This is starring Cillian Murphy as a transvestite, wants to be transsexual, but the technology isn't quite there yet, growing up in Ireland in like the 1960s and 1970s. I've had this on my watch list forever. For a long time, it wasn't streamable anywhere. You couldn't even rent it for a long time, and now it's on Amazon Prime. So this is written and directed by Neil Jordan. If that name sounds familiar to you, he also directed Interview with a Vampire, a little bit more vampire theme.
Oh, wow.
To this. He's got a really, really long pedigree of movies that he's directed. Most recently, Marlowe, the Liam Neeson sort of noir detective movie that came out in 2022. Marlowe.
I've never heard of it.
It didn't come out to great reviews. In 2018, he directed Greta with Chloe Grace Moretz, where she's like being groomed by this old lady.
She also looks like a Greta.
Who?
Like Chloe Grace Moretz.
Wait, what does that even mean, Joseph?
She just looks like the name
like
fits.
Yeah.
Looks like a Greta.
She looks like a Greta, okay.
And then in 1997, he did The Butcher Boy, and then the Interview with a Vampire in 94, The Crying Game in 1992.
Wow.
And then in this one came out in 2005, Breakfast on Pluto. This is it's like a long spread sort of story. Like it follows his life from being left on the doorstep as an orphan at a parish to Liam Neeson, who plays the pastor, the father that takes him in.
Oh.
And then he's being raised by a surrogate mother, and the difficulties of wanting to dress like a girl as a young boy in Glasgow or wherever he is in Ireland. It's really serious and really affecting, but at the same time, it has a very fun, upbeat, sort of humorous, kind of quippy sort of vibe to the entire movie. And a lot of that is basically his character that he plays, who is Patrick Braden, a.k.a. Kitten. He goes by Kitten. And Patty Kitten Braden. He's just a really likable, really affable sort of character that you can't not like him. He's a little bit of a shit-eating grin on his face the entire time because people are trying to bully him and he just leans into it. You know, people are hitting on him as he's in full drag and they realize he's a man. And he's just very like cavalier about it. He doesn't take... Oh,
I love it.
Doesn't take any of like the shit that people are giving him to heart. It's a very progressive movie. I mean, so 2005, so it's not like it was, too old, but somebody's asking him if he needs a hand with something, and he says, well, maybe you could point me to a doctor that knows how to do a sex change. And this is supposed to be set in 1975 or 1972 at that point.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And there's a scene, a very affecting scene in, it's like a 1970s hype house. You know, in Austin Powers 2, when he flashes back and he's at that crazy party. It's like this round building that's full of psychedelic decorations and everyone's in bell bottoms. Everybody's dancing and stuff. It's basically that house. And he's in there and it's in the actual era of it. And there's a bombing that happens because the IRA is in full swing and in full rebellion. There's bombs all over the place. It affects him and his life directly and indirectly. And just ultimately, it's a very... I gave it like 4 stars on Letterboxd. It's really worth your time, I think. And it's impossible to think, oh, that guy doesn't know what he's doing. Cillian Murphy. He's a fantastic actor in this. And you're just kind of like, well, of course he went on to do big things,
Okay.
Okay, so that's Breakfast on Pluto, streaming on Amazon Prime. And then the last one I'm going to talk about, well, I'll give 2. Number 1, Thanksgiving, the Eli Roth movie that came out not too long ago. It just hit straight.
It's called Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Do you know the story of this one, Tyler?
I don't believe I have heard of this movie before.
In Grindhouse, the Planet Terror and Death Proof double feature with Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino. Between the movies, there's an intermission built into it, and there's all these fake trailers being played a la...
Don't.
Yeah. It's like this very classic 1970s announcer, giving these movies, and they're showing the trailer for these movies before the next movie starts.
And now presenting...
No, it's more like, do you know where your children are? Do not answer the door. And then it'll cut like a scene of somebody.
If you're thinking about going into the house, don't.
And one of them is called Thanksgiving. It's a fake movie trailer for a fake...
Is that what it's from, really?
Yeah, it's called Thanksgiving.
I didn't know that.
And it's super campy. It's like the parade, and there's somebody stretched up a turkey, and somebody decapitates the guy in the turkey costume, and everyone's screaming, and then it says, "This Thanksgiving, bring the family home for a little more than just dinner." Cuts to a family sitting down for dinner, and there's a whole body stuffed like a turkey on the table.
Yeah.
And so they took that, and they made that into a movie.
So like Machete. Like Machete was a trailer.
Yes, exactly like Machete. Very good. Or Satan's Alley if they got Tobey Maguire and Robert Downey Jr.
Satan's Alley.
To do the gay monk romance from the beginning of Tropic Thunder.
Yeah. Very bad boy.
Yeah. So, which would go perfectly with Breakfast on Pluto, double feature. So anyways, so Thanksgiving it's schlocky. It is fun. It is gory. It's the definition of a 3-star banger. You know what you're getting out of this, and it's a great version of that. So if you're not into shitty sort of like slasher, kind of goofy, low, not serious slashers, pass on it because that's what you're going to get. If that sounds like it's something right up your alley, go watch it, and it's streaming on Netflix, so very accessible to most people. Easy watch too. It's hour 46 minutes, feels like under 90. It's very, very good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Patrick Dempsey is in it, actually.
Wait, Dempsey's in it?
Dempsey's in it. A couple other people. Gina Gershon's in it.
Okay.
Very fun. And there's a mystery element to it. You can start guessing within the first 15 minutes. And the first 10-minute sequence is great. It's like a Black Friday sale, but it opens on Thanksgiving evening. And there's a stampede that kills 3 people. That's the inciting incident. A year later at Plymouth, where the founding fathers had the first Thanksgiving, is where they take Thanksgiving very seriously.
It's so ridiculous.
And 3 people were killed in the stampede of the Black Friday sale, and now a year later, someone's killing all the people that were involved.
Oh my god! This is on Netflix.
It's on
too?
Netflix. Yeah, you should watch it, Tyler.
Yes.
And then lastly, I watched Elvis, which is also streaming. Which is also streaming on Netflix. And Joseph, you watched this before, right?
Yes.
You hated it, right?
I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it a whole lot.
Really? We would give like 3 stars, 2.5, something like that.
Yeah, like 3. Like Tom Hanks is terrible, and I think this.
Hanks
I feel
was
like
terrible in Elvis.
I think the story was focused on the wrong thing.
It really tells a story about Colonel Parker. Like his first name is Colonel.
Yeah.
And he's from
Can you imagine being
Holland,
a parent and just saying, I want to... His name is going to be Colonel.
That's not his name.
He actually chose that name for himself because he's a Dutch
is that right?
he's a Dutch immigrant, and he changed his name from something weird to Colonel, which is even also weird.
Okay.
This movie's long as shit. It's streaming on Netflix. It's streaming on Amazon Prime. It's streaming on Max. It's streaming on DirecTV on demand. It's 2 hours, 39 minutes. And
wow.
I fucking love this movie. This was...
Oh, you did?
Yes, it was so good.
I thought you were going into the direction of like, I hate it.
Well, I'm 50-50 on Baz Luhrmann in general. Like, I can't stand Romeo plus Juliet. I hate it so much.
What, you don't like that one?
No, I don't. I walked out of Moulin Rouge in the theaters. The only movie I've ever walked out of in a theater. Granted, I was a teenager on a double date and we couldn't take it seriously. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, and we just left. And I watched it years later, and I can appreciate a lot of it, but it's just so much. There's so much happening all the time in Baz Luhrmann movies. But I think with this, there's so much to tell, so much story to tell with Elvis. You know, from him being found at the county fair, essentially doing like hay rides and stuff, to literally selling, satellite concerts to like 1.5 billion people, the most people have ever tuned into a single concert performance at any given time for a solo artist.
Yeah.
It's like there's so much to tell, and you almost need somebody with that like intensity and speed to get to the next thing, like Baz Luhrmann, unless you want it to be a 5-hour movie.
Did they show the death scene?
Is that all you care about?
I'm asking you point blank right now. Did they show the death scene?
Well, you're gonna have to watch it and find out.
God damn it!
There's a lot of talk about the death. There's it's a flash forward, then a flashback. There's talk about his mother's death. There's a lot of great Cadillacs, a lot of great old cars in this movie, and some fantastic music and like new renditions of songs too, which is like very. I feel like he swung really hard with Moulin Rouge with remixing all these songs and made them a little too over the top in my opinion for a lot of it. But then in this version, there's a lot of subtle remixed songs that are like, is this Toxic by Britney Spears mixed with, Jailhouse Blues or something like that, or, Suede Shoes? And I don't know. I just felt the whole thing, I was very engaged throughout the whole entire thing. And I don't know almost anything about Elvis. And now I feel like I know a lot about Elvis. How much of it is true or not, I don't know. But it's essentially told from the perspective of Colonel, whatever his name is, Colonel Parker, and how he took advantage of Elvis as his manager. Clearly, there's a slant to it, but there's a number of lawsuits that Colonel had alleged against him and lost to the estate of Elvis's family after Elvis died. So there has to be some truth in it all. Yeah, and
he was a con man.
Yeah, and the whole time he admits to it. He calls it it's a snow job. He's a snowman. And he tells Elvis, too, he goes, I'm going to teach you the art of the snow job.
Oh, an SJ.
Yeah, the mythical SJ. So, yeah, I found it fascinating, and I found it very entertaining, and I felt like Luhrmann was the right person to tell this story, in my opinion, because it was so entertaining and upbeat and fast, and that quick editing style doesn't always work with a lot of stories, but I think with the fast-paced life and the larger-than-life appearance, the ethos that is Elvis Presley, it really worked with that sort of storytelling. So that's Elvis from 2022, directed by Baz Luhrmann.
Started losing it when they included modern music.
Okay.
I hated that.
Sometimes I hate it. In like Django, I love it. They're playing David Banner as
it's just so out of place.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, Joseph, on that one.
I liked that part of it mainly because...
Why is Doja Cat here?
I loved it. I love the Doja Cat needle drop. I loved it.
I hate it. It's terrible.
The way I think about that is
Doja Cat here?
The reason why I think I like that was because for the time, Elvis was the most modern music. So taking his music and putting a very modern spin on it feels almost at place because he was cutting edge for his time. And we'll just take some modern music, intercut some of his music into their music and overlay it. And it's like not like they did the whole song. It was just a little bit here, and then he's playing with B.B. King, a little bit there, and then here's some Little Richard or somebody that looks like Little Richard. So, yeah, I thought it was a great time. And I can totally understand why this is divisive because people seem to love Romeo plus Juliet, this modern retelling. I think it was. It's just so. It just gets right in. It's like taking an ice pick right into my temple.
Do you bite your thumb at me, sir?
Yeah, it's like
I bite your thumb at me.
I don't know. I thought it was a fine film.
Yeah,
I watched that in English class.
You watched it in English class?
Yeah, in high school.
I love that it exists. I don't ever want to watch it again. That's Romeo plus Juliet. But for Elvis, I've had a fantastic time. So, anyways, that's all I got.
Tyler. Oh, Tyler, what do you have to say? What do you have to talk about?
Tyler told me something before you got jumped on the call, Joseph.
Well,
he logged something on his letterbox.
For people who are streaming, I have a special guest who wants to introduce my streaming pick.
Okay, here we go.
He watched Cats. Get over.
So we have here my boy who has been a guest several
look at
years
him.
ago.
Oh, he looks so happy to be home. Welcome home. Welcome home,
He's
Lucas.
ecstatic.
I interrupted his nap, but me and my boy here, we watched The Iron Claw. How did you like it, Lucas? Did you like it? I know he was very titillated by this movie.
I can tell. Look at the emotion on his face. He looks like he's ready to cry.
No, he's a little pissed off at me.
He's welling up right now. I can see it in his eyes.
Yeah, he's not even on camera. There he goes.
Go back to your spot. So anyways, The Iron Claw. So this isn't streaming anywhere, but you can buy it.
You bought this
Amazon.
movie? You bought this movie?
I did. Yeah.
I'm just glad you're watching new movies. I'm proud of you.
I'm just gonna read my review on Letterboxd and then I'll get into it. So I gave it a full 5 stars. This film really touched me in a way I was not expecting. So I want to begin by saying I really loved the camera work, especially in the last 27 minutes. It really felt like I was in those moments like a ghost witnessing these horrible, dramatic moments. Zac Efron was incredible at emoting a man who grew up in an era where showing vulnerability was frowned upon. I wish we had more time to see the brothers bond, but what I got from this film is that these brothers were in incredible pain, but they loved intensely. Everyone was really great in the film. Jeremy Allen White just killed his role. It's strange that there was a moment in my life when I rejected the whole professional wrestling thing, but I've come to have a greater appreciation because of this film. Overall, this movie is about loss and the complicated nature of an abusive family patriarch. If you need a good cry at 6:37 a.m. in the morning, I'd recommend this gem. And I spelled gem incorrectly. Now that I'm looking at it.
Wait, how'd you spell gem?
You spelled gem incorrectly with a J?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Most words that are spelt with a hard J would put a J in the middle, like jump or Jenga or jiggle.
Or juggalo.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this movie. Like this, I watched this movie before I went to work, and I don't know, probably not the
and I was gonna say not the best idea.
not the best movie to hype
start your day
yourself
off.
Yeah, to start your day off. But however, I really liked it, and like I just want to pontificate more on the camera work because it really seemed like you were a person walking behind these people. You really felt like a fly on the wall. Mm-hmm. It's a little weak in some ways of not going into more of Zac Efron's character's pain. It's kind of a little bit all over the place, but it's done well enough that I was really into the movie.
Does it surprise you, Tyler? Does it surprise you that there was 0 Oscar nominations for this movie?
Actually, you know what? It doesn't surprise me.
Oh, really?
I think it doesn't need any nominations from the Academy. However, it showed that Zac Efron has range, and he needs to find work that is drama related.
Well, he's only going to be able to do anything with the characters that are basically cavemen at this point.
Well, he did the Ted Bundy movie.
Yeah.
A few years ago.
There's a Ted Bundy movie?
It was a miniseries.
Was it a series or a movie?
Pretty sure it was a series.
Okay.
Anyway, he did that.
And also, everyone is freaking jacked in this movie. It's
Zac Efron, he's
like
nuts.
It was crazy to see that because
I couldn't take him seriously for a little bit when he was like standing in the doorway wearing his cut off jorts and talking to his mom.
Yeah, exactly.
And the crop top tank top. I was like, hey mom, where's Dad? And he has like this southern drawl on his.
The southern drawl. That was pretty. Like, this movie wasn't about professional wrestling. It was about a family.
They just happened to wrestle.
Yeah, they just happened to wrestle.
The very last 5 minutes of the movie.
What, during the credits or?
No, like just the last scene of Zac Efron. He has his kids that are like playing on the grass or whatever.
Oh God, that
and like that
me up.
That scene, there's a line that he says. So I have 3 brothers. IRL, and
IRL.
I'm not like super close with them, but you know they're a lot older than me. This line that he says, where he goes like, "I used to be a brother," was ugh.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
It.
I haven't really had a desire to seek this out, just because I know it's basically like depression over like spread out over the course of 2 hours.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. Yeah, there's a depressing factor to the story.
I'll save it for my next Depress Fest. Well, I'll add it in there.
Obviously, you know going into it that it's going to be sad,
Yeah.
but peppered in throughout the movie, there's a lot of really wholesome and kind of uplifting moments between the brothers.
Yeah,
and then you have
the
sad part of it, the sad reality of what happened. And I think even in the actual in the real story, for the movie, I think they excluded a brother.
There's a whole brother left out of the movie.
A whole brother missing.
It's so frustrating because you see the sheer talent of these men, and they just take themselves off one by one. I couldn't even imagine. I've never had a brother before, but I mean, I guess I would consider you guys my brothers. But I couldn't even imagine being someone who I cared so deeply for dead by their own hand. And Zac Efron did such an amazing job. In anyways, so that's the Iron Claw. That's what I watched. And then, and then True Detective. Season 5.
You don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I love Jodie Foster, though.
People just need to stop expecting any season after season 1 to be any good.
Yeah, just call it Night Country. Don't call it True Detective season 5 Night Country. Just call it True Detective.
It's already been renewed for season 5 too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
people
number 4?
loved it.
This is number 4.
Yeah.
People. Yeah.
Is that
we want more?
Was that the finale, Tyler?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. I have to watch the finale still. I liked the season leading up to it, so.
Well, just watch the finale then.
I guess we'll find out. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand how you didn't watch the finale already. But
I got other things to do. I got movies to watch.
What are you, some kind of loser
for this show? You know.
That's not what I'm saying. Come on.
I haven't watched any of it. So
Tyler didn't like the finale because it was too woke. Is what he told me. He texted me separately for that.
Oh God.
He said Jodie Foster, isn't she like LGBTQ plus IA?
Plus IA.
Yeah.
And then I said, I don't even know what that means, but I don't like it.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
That's funny. All right, so I'm going to go through the movies. I'm going to start with the best thing that I watched. This is a movie that I've seen before, haven't seen in a while, streaming on Max. This is Be Kind, Rewind, directed by...
I love that movie. That's with Mos Def.
Yassine Bey, actually.
Yeah.
Formerly known as Mos Def.
How dare you dead name him, Tyler?
Wait a minute, dead name? What? I didn't even know. I
changed his name.
I didn't even know.
Yassine
it's not
Bey.
Cat Stevens anymore. It's Yusuf Stevens.
Yeah. Now it's just Yusuf.
Oh, is it just Yusuf?
I think so.
So yeah, Be Kind, Rewind, directed by Michelle Gondry, who did Eternal Sunshine and Science of Sleep.
Interesting.
And directed and written by. And yeah, starring Jack Black, Yassine Bey, Danny Glover, and Mia Farrow as the most recognizable people in the movie, along with Melanie Diaz, who has been in some other movies. Very recognizable face. But the plot of this movie is Yassine Bey plays Mike, who works at this video rental store. You can rent VHSs for $1 that is inside of this historical building that is being threatened to be torn down for a new development in Passaic, New Jersey. And Jack Black plays Jerry, who is I think he's also employed there, but they're more like Mike and Jerry are just friends, and he is kind of a conspiracy theorist. He's kind of a crazy guy.
Yeah.
And Jack Black is perfect in this movie. He's dynamite, and he gets into an accident where he's trying to sabotage the power plant that is like nearby, and he gets into an accident and he becomes magnetized.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that plot.
I did too. Oh my God.
He convinces Mike to come down to the plant with him to help him sabotage it, and they hop over the fence and they spray paint these bodysuits that look like the fence.
Yes, that's right.
And so when the cops come, you just see them. He's like standing on the ladder, and they're perfectly aligned with like the chain link fence and the sign, like no trespassing sign on it. And they're just like standing there like cartoon style.
They did the When a Stranger Calls themselves.
And the cops like literally shine a light on them and just like, I guess it's nothing. And then yeah. And then
this is your worst of the week?
No, this is the best of the week.
Oh, okay, my bad.
And Mike is like, I don't want to do this anymore. And and leaves Jerry behind essentially, and then Jerry gets electrocuted by the plant and he becomes magnetized. And then the next morning, you see him stumbling in to the video store, and he walks by all of the tapes and wipes them all out.
Yeah,
because he's magnetized. And there's a lot of great sound design with that scene specifically, because like you see like him going across the old tube TV, and it's doing that warping sound effect, and it has the static and everything.
Yeah,
and he's like, stuff is just sticking to him, like he gets pulled into like a pole. And it's pretty ridiculous. It's almost like a cartoon, just like a live action cartoon. And this movie is hilarious. It's just like has this really silly humor like that, but also has a lot of dry humor. And it's also very wholesome because they're trying to save this video store that is going to be the building that it's in is going to be torn down, and Sigourney Weaver also makes an appearance at the end of the movie.
Oh,
that's right. I forgot.
As like she's like the developer. She's like leading the whole new development, and they are trying to come up with the money to save the whole building. And Danny Glover goes off to other video rental stores to pick up new strategies to sell more movies or to rent more movies out and bring in more income. Then the tapes get erased while he's gone, and everybody in town wants to rent movies still, but there's no more movies because they're all erased. So now they come up with the idea of sweeting them, which is essentially remaking the movies, but with just them two.
Yeah.
And shooting on tape in chronological order. Like they're shooting to edit. Like they're editing live as they're shooting. And that's why you see him like running into the grocery store, or not the grocery store, the video store, with the camera holding the cover, and he's like, starring Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ghostbusters, and he essentially just ejects the tape and gives it to Mia Farrow, who was wanting Ghostbusters, after they spent a whole day filming in a library and causing mayhem and coming up with their own production design and costumes and everything.
It's so fun watching their productions.
It's a super fun movie. Like it's very sweet, very wholesome, and it's just a really good time. I mean, I don't know how.
Where's that streaming at again? Max, you said?
Yeah, streaming on Max.
Oh man,
just really good. And then there's another subplot where Mike is obsessed with this jazz musician Fats Waller, who he's told that Fats Waller lived in the building that is going to be torn down. Yeah. And he creates, in a Hail Mary at the end of the movie to get the funding that he needs to save the building, they make essentially a biopic of Fats Waller where he plays Fats, and the whole town gets involved in helping him make the movie. There's a great montage sequence of all of these other movies being made, 2001, Thelma and Louise, and it's like a really great just like production level, it's just really well put together because they just get crafty. They get really, really crafty.
Yeah.
I got to rewatch this. Yeah, I've seen it once and I really have fond memories of it. I don't even remember it was Michelle Gondry though. That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, streaming on Max. That's Be Kind Rewind. Definitely check that out if you haven't seen it. I caught up on One Cut of the Dead, streaming on Shudder.
Ooh.
Another movie that has a insane production.
Yeah.
Behind it. The multi-layered storytelling where Pete kind of talked about the story where these filmmakers are making a one-take zombie TV show.
Yeah, how much of it did you know before going into it? Because this is one that really benefits from knowing nothing.
So Adam told me about this movie years ago, like when we still worked together.
Uh-huh.
And I never got around to checking it out until this last week. And it's I can't remember what it's an Asian country. I can't remember which. I don't know if it's in Japan.
It's Japan.
The Philippines?
Is it Japan?
No, it's Japan.
It's Japan. And it's very meta. I don't want to give too much away because there's multi layers to it, and once it reveals the first layer and then the second layer, it gets pretty interesting because you see the first 30 minutes of the movie, it's like of a certain quality of movie that you're watching, and then it changes, and just on a production level, on how they, I don't know, coordinated the filming of the movie that's in the movie is insane.
It's kind of mind blowing, and I feel like this is a really great pairing with Be Kind Rewind too.
Yeah. It just like on a production level, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Movie making in general.
Yeah, movie making. It's like a love story about making movies.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's streaming on Shudder if you have access to it.
Hell yeah, everybody should watch that.
Yeah, a good double feature with this that I said was Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Of the same, I think, production level as that, and if you want a good like head scratching evening, you could try to figure out how they made both of these movies.
I think with One Cut of the Dead, it's really hard to make that movie, but I can see how they did it. With One Cut of the Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes, I have no fucking clue how they did it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's nuts. So yeah, that's streaming on Shudder. The next movie I watched, I caught up with Taika Waititi's newest movie, Next Goal Wins, which is now streaming on Hulu. And I've heard the phrase Taika fatigue or Taika Waititi fatigue in the last couple months or the last year.
Oh, really?
And I think that kind of spawned off of Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder. Like it kind of came to a head or a peak when that movie came out because that got released to a bunch of mixed reviews. People the comedy not quite landing or just it being too over the top silly or something.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird movie.
For me, it was that and Free Guy. He had a cameo in Free Guy where if he seems like he's playing himself, and it's like not a very likable version of himself.
Yeah,
I think Taika, his mistake was not utilizing Christian Bale in Love and Thunder.
Did you watch Love and Thunder?
Yeah, I have.
How would we? But you didn't bring it up.
Why would I? Do I have to bring up every single thing that I watch?
It's kind of a big name movie.
When you only bring one other thing, another thing would be nice.
Another thing.
Yeah. 2 streaming picks.
Whenever you watch a movie, Tyler, tell us on the show.
I will.
Even if it's just I watched it and it wasn't good.
Even if you hate it, even if you love it, even if it was mid.
Okay.
Especially if it's mid. Your favorite type of movie.
I will promise you, Pete and Joseph, and to the classmates.
I know what your promises are worth.
So when I got my Christmas present.
I know. Where's our Christmas presents? It's practically July at this point.
Is it?
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. February 24th. Practically July.
Oh, well.
Anyway,
sorry.
So Next Goal Wins, streaming on Hulu now. This came out last year, and it's based on a true story. A Dutch coach named Thomas Rongen, who basically gets assigned to coach the American Samoa soccer team, which is said in the movie that it is the worst soccer team in the International Soccer League, where they, at this point, in the story, they have never scored a goal since they've been a soccer team.
Wow.
And they had one of the most embarrassing losses. They lost to like 31-0.
Holy shit.
To Australia.
Wow. How does that happen?
They just keep scoring, and they are bad at defending.
Just call the game at that point.
Yeah. So this stars Michael Fassbender as the head coach who gets assigned, and then a bunch of like Polynesians, American Samoans. And this definitely falls more in line with movies like Boy or Eagle vs. Shark. It's definitely not as quirky as those ones are. This one is like those ones with a budget and Michael Fassbender. It definitely falls more on the wholesome side of things. It was very enjoyable. I liked it a lot. The characters, the American Samoans, the people who are play the characters in the soccer team, were the whole island has like this unrelenting positivity that Michael Fassbender does. His like the coach, it can't like understand how they can be so positive all the time. There's even there's a whole conversation about that near the end of the movie too, with the coach and the guy who runs the FAS, as he says, which is the International Soccer League. Like he manages that team for the International Soccer League.
It's like the opposite of Ted Lasso, where he's positive and everyone else is down on him.
Yeah. That's a good comparison.
Yeah, I was thinking when you were describing the plot, I was just like, oh, so it's like Ted Lasso then.
Sort of. Not really.
Ted Lasso is just ripping off this movie.
I think this
was a true story.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. It's not like quite as funny as like Eagle versus Shark is, or not quite as wholesome as Boy is, but it falls somewhere in the middle between the two of those.
Cool.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. I didn't feel annoyed by it at all. Like I guess some people might consider Taika nowadays. He is in the movie very, very briefly. Mm-hmm. Himself, like he's in the first scene of the movie, and he quite literally looks at the camera and he's dressed as like this priest who has this handlebar mustache and like these big teeth, like upper teeth for some reason.
Okay.
And he essentially kicks off the whole story of like, this is may or may not be based on true events that were maybe embellished a little bit. And then he's in the movie later where he is in church, because according to the movie, it's a very religious island, and they all stop at one point in the day every day to pray. And Michael Fassbender, like the first time he sees that, he's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
he's like trying to buy something in a convenience store, and like in the middle of the transaction, this bell rings, and then the cashier starts to pray, and he's like, "Hello, can I buy this now?"
I mean, what's the correct like response to that if you're not familiar with that society?
I don't know.
He'd have a hard time in a Muslim nation that happens 5 times a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't do well.
So yeah, that's streaming on Hulu. I think worth your time.
All right.
I caught up with Vampire's Kiss.
Ooh.
Nicolas Cage. Streaming on Prime.
Yeah.
Streaming on Prime, Tubi, and Pluto, so you can watch it. It's very accessible. And the only thing I liked about this movie was Nicolas Cage. And it's a good thing that he's the main character.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I probably wouldn't have watched this movie if it wasn't for Cage.
So Nicolas Cage was the draw.
Yeah, and like I don't think anyone would care about this movie if Nicolas Cage wasn't in it.
I can agree with that.
I don't think the story is kind of all over the place, and there are moments in the movie where I feel like it tonally doesn't know what it is, because it's like he's in another movie. Nicolas Cage is playing a role that is in another movie, and everybody else is playing it serious.
Yeah.
There's some subplots in the movie, like him with his secretary. He terrorizes, and
all-time worst bosses,
borderline rapes.
Oh my god!
And
how's there a borderline raping?
I mean, it's an assault.
How is that borderline? It's either it's black and white, Joseph.
It's assault, I would say.
It's sexual assault.
Okay.
And I think a good double feature pairing with this would be this and American Psycho.
Yeah,
because very, very similar. I think points that these movies are trying to make. American Psycho, I think, does it a little better. It's more clear. I think that's the message it's trying to convey. And whereas this, it's just Nicolas Cage. Like all of that is just put on him.
Jeepies.
Yeah. He has like this.
Give me the Jeepies.
He puts on these this like rich New York accent, and it's I don't even know what it is. You put it in the files, A, B, C, D, and alphabetical order.
Yeah, it's not very hard. What's her name?
Yeah,
Alma? Is that her name? Alma?
Alva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has the same accent in Mandy. No, not Mandy. Color Out of Space. He puts on that weird rich guy accent. It's very similar, at least.
Like in Massachusetts, like upper.
I don't even know what it is. Very stuffy. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's for Cage, it's worth it. The coffin couch thing is hilarious, and
him walking to the club like this.
When he's imagining near the end of the movie, when he's like wandering the streets like a crazy homeless person, and he's got blood on his shirt, and he's just imagining his interaction with the therapist, and it cuts back to him just talking to himself on the street. That was pretty hilarious. It should be marketed as a comedy.
It is a comedy. It should be.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it should be noted as such, just like American Psycho is a comedy.
Yeah, it's.
Is it a comedy?
I would say it's a dark comedy.
Yes.
American Psycho.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then why am I laughing the whole
never thought
time?
about it that way, but I don't know. Maybe I have to revisit that movie and look at it through that lens of it being a dark comedy, because I always thought it was just like a straight up
social commentary
movie.
American Psycho, I wouldn't say it's a horror movie.
No, it's got some horrifying aspects to it and some slasher elements, but it's more of a dark comedy that's a social commentary more than anything.
I agree with that.
And then the last movie that I watched that was absolutely awful, terrible.
Oh no!
Don't watch it. Streaming on Disney Plus if you're curious. I watched Kazaam.
Oh boy!
Kazaam.
Wow!
Kazaam, the Shaquille O'Neal genie movie.
Oh, that everyone thought. Who the hell was that?
I thought it was Sinbad when it was called Shazam.
Yeah, Shazam.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. This is Kazaam, where Shaquille O'Neal, his lamp is a boombox, and the kid is being chased into like this abandoned building where that's where the boombox is. It never really explains how he gets there.
Yeah.
They just wander in, and then he's getting chased by a bunch of bullies, and then they summon him, and he like comes out spinning, and he starts speaking in rhyme. It's God, it was an awful movie. It was an awful movie.
Why did you watch it? Why?
Yeah, this is an interesting choice.
I mean, why not?
Yes. Good point.
Well, yeah, you know what? You got me there.
Good
I
point.
can't. It's notoriously a bad movie, right? Like it's infamously a bad movie.
Yeah.
I was never aware of it being a bad movie. I knew of its existence, but I had no idea that it was like
it's a kids movie.
It's a kids movie. I wish that I could unwatch this movie. I wish that I could remove it from my memory.
Dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, the writing is terrible. The kid is awful. It's so annoying. And then Shaq speaking in rhyme,
Shaq speaking in rhyme.
It's It's just don't I actually don't watch this. Like don't. Not
even for the sake of it being.
If you're thinking of watching Kazaam, don't.
This is like a PSA from our show.
Yeah, kids, don't do drugs. Don't watch Kazaam.
Was it short at least?
It didn't feel short, but it was short.
Okay.
It's 90 minutes. 90 minutes long.
Wow.
Okay.
On the nose.
Yeah, it's an average rating of 1.9 on Letterboxd.
Wow. 1.9.
I'm not surprised.
Interesting. That's pretty low.
Surprised.
So yeah, I didn't look too much in this movie because I really didn't care about it.
All right. Don't watch it.
Paul Michael Glaser directed this.
I wonder if that's Jack Dylan Glazer's dad or something.
Papa. Paul. Oh no, he's an actor. He was Starsky. He was the original Starsky in Starsky and Hutch.
That's weird.
Wow.
And he was in Fiddler on the Roof as Perchik.
Oh, he's Perchik. He's the guy that sings that stupid song, "Miracle of Miracles."
Oh yeah, yeah.
Kind of crazy that Shazam is associated with Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah.
Kazam.
Kazam.
Yeah. So yeah.
All right.
That's what I watched. Watch Be Kind, Rewind. Don't watch Kazam.
All right. Do you guys have anything else you want to say?
No, I think
Nope.
that's it.
All right, then. Thank you to our cool ass yard duties. That's over on Patreon. That's Javier, Heather Sachs, Ryan Corbin, and Chris. And thank you to all of our Patreon members. We have a watch along that's going to be coming up soon. It's the new Neil Breen movie, Cade, the Fated Dark Fate, or something like that. I don't even know the name of the movie. It's so terrible.
Cade is the name of the movie?
I don't know. It's Cade or Sade. It's Cade. I'm sure it's Cade.
I think
Probably
it's
Cade.
Yeah, it looks like on par with Neil Breen gems of days gone past. It's called
I'm an American. I love my country.
It's called Cade the Tortured Crossing is what it's
The
called.
dude is a fucking genius. That's all I have to say.
And here's the synopsis from it. It says, an identical AI twin brother restores an old mysterious mental asylum. He takes it upon himself to mysteriously train the patients as warriors for humanity and justice.
No
Yes,
way.
that's what it's called. That's the synopsis.
No. Oh man. That's gonna be so fun.
And I
That's
bought
gonna
it
be
in
so
the
fun.
best quality format, which is also the only quality format you can get on a burned DVD -R from Neil Breen.
There's no CD art.
No, it's no CD art. It's literally, here's the picture. Here's what it looks like. I bought that from Neil Breen himself.
Long live physical media.
That's right.
Eyes on Breen.
Yeah, so we're going to do a watch along with that, so everyone can watch the new soon-to-be masterpiece from Neil Breen with us, and that's at all levels on the Patreon. And if you're used to be a Patreon member and you don't subscribe now, just shoot me a message. Since we didn't do any watch-alongs when you guys were subscribing, we're happy to get former members in to do a big, fun watch-along together on the Patreon. So if you do want to support us, go to patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass. But watching us on the YouTube, so recommending the show to friends, that's another way you can support the show that's absolutely free. Until next time. Thank you for joining us as we remotely gab and chatter. Follow us later on in the week as we review City of God, Joseph's pick from the Wheel of Destiny. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class, and leave us a voicemail, why don't you, at 209-730-6010.
And follow us on Twitter at Podcast MCFC, and on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class.
Go check out the YouTube channels. A lot of fun stuff over there, and that's where we want to see you watching. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
See ya.
Class dismissed.
I gotta get out of here.
The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.
You're free to go.
See you next week.
See you later.
See you later.
That's a wrap.
Great show.